So, my anxiety and I have what some people might call a friends with benefits relationship. We have no love for each other, but she still just like fucks with me sometimes. You know? We moved in together some years ago. We have inside jokes. Like when I say, I'm gonna go talk to that person over there, my anxiety looks at me and is like, bitch, please. My anxiety is the reason I didn't talk to you. She's possessive. She doesn't like me talking to other people. She's irrational. Because of her, I'll take the long way to my building to avoid someone I already passed by twice because I don't know if it's acceptable to say hey a third time. Because of her. I don't correct people at restaurants who get my order wrong. I just eat it. Because you know, maybe sweet potato fries are what I wanted, but the broccoli you gave me is what I needed. Thank you.
Beauty of poetry is the language, the uniqueness making emotions a reality. She's talking about anxiety like it's a person, when technically it's not about the, technically it's not, right? It's perspective. It's like I'm struggling with all these things, like anxiety, and it's a heavy weight. Being self-aware, relatable, the way your art can speak to people. Welcome to my channel. I'm Dre the Sunflower Poet, and this is part 5 of Finding Your Poetic Voice. And I decided to go live with this, just trying something different. Parts 1 through 4 are already posted on my page, been recorded for your viewing pleasure. So I hope that you go and watch the whole series and really gain some knowledge from that. Building your foundation, part 1, finding your influences, part 2. I did some writing exercises in part 3, and then part 4. Forgive me because I just did that 2 days ago. Let me see, self-doubt. Yes, overcoming self-doubt. And now in part 5, I'm going to talk to y'all about experimenting with the language and form. Got a few videos. That video, which is the brief excerpt of poetry, because obviously it's about finding your poetic voice, but to me, this can apply to any situation whatsoever. So I appreciate you for tuning in. And if you're not aware of me, I'm a spoken word artist, also a mental health advocate, an author of several books, off to be found on Amazon, and now I'm just aspiring to be someone who exchanges creative energy. And hopefully from my experiences of doing this work with, say, 3-4 years that I've been a part of it, in self-publishing and pretty much self-funding everything that I've done as far as going to open mics and all that stuff. So yeah, so I figured this versus gatekeep, I will go ahead and share my experiences with y'all, and hopefully they'll benefit somebody who's on this poetic journey. So I appreciate you tuning in. So the first, let's see, the first concept to get into is language and diction. So I'm going to show you another video, a poet. He goes by Mr. Aubs. It looks like it's called They Gonna Grow Up. And let's see. So the platform we just watched was Jay Nichelle on Right About Now Poetry. I'll put all the links in the description once the video is complete. But in the meantime, I want to use this Mr. Aubs, this next performance to demonstrate exactly what I'm talking about.
Yo, big man, before you go cold walking away from sun, just remember, he's going to be grown one day. He's going to have hair. He's going to have heart. He's going to have hate. He gonna see boys at playgrounds with their pops, schools with their fathers, church with their dads, and he gonna wonder where the hell you at. He gonna be blaming his mother just like you. He gonna be blaming himself when he see his reflection in dirty dishwater, feeling as if he is stained that can't be scrubbed.
Apologies,
How
y'all.
are you not tired of spending your hard-earned money on
Okay.
a million different productivity
Hold
apps?
on.
Well, here's how you can save and wave
This is
goodbye to
awesome.
Asana, Trello,
Ads.
ClickUp, TickTick, Monday, Notion,
Yeah, going
Calendly.
live.
And he gonna wonder
Ads.
how you can so easily wash your hands.
Let's run this back again. Let's run this back because you don't get the full experience without.
Yo, big man. For you go cold walking away from sun, just remember, he's gonna be grown one day. He's gonna have hair. He's gonna have heart. He's gonna have hate. He gonna see boys at playgrounds with their pops, schools with their fathers, church with their dads, and he gonna wonder where the hell you at. He gonna be blaming his mother just like you. He gonna be blaming himself when he see his reflection in dirty dishwater, feeling as if he is stained that can't be scrubbed, and he gonna wonder how you can so easily wash your hands of him. Set fire to that Garden of Eden within his chest with no one to teach him how to tame that flame. Yeah, he gonna be trying his best at school. He gonna be trying his best, pick up games at the park. He gonna be trying his best, get shoved, anger management. He gonna be trying his best. He gonna strive to be better than you. So he gonna be trying his best while feeling like you did him the worst. That's his shoulders.
The reason I wanted to show that is to demonstrate what we're talking about language and diction. So on, I took a few notes. He said he has a line in there that says he's a stain that can't be scrubbed versus, he's a stain that can't be scrubbed, which is a metaphor, versus just saying he's your child, you just, you can't get rid of him. And then he goes to say, you're going to wonder how you can so easily wash your hands at him. So that's a metaphor also, versus just saying, well, how you going to walk with your own child? He's going to grow up. He's going to remember your actions. And so that's a plain language, right? So I wanted to demonstrate, or at least identify in that piece, plain language versus wordplay and metaphors, the ability to say things in a way that is unique. Like music lyrics can be born without metaphors and wordplay. So when you're talking about language and diction, I need you to look into using analogies, similes, things to make your art really come alive. I also want to go ahead and just give you definitions of language and diction, because I don't want to assume that people know what that is. I also like to educate myself to know, to pretty much let y'all know, okay, like we don't, I don't know everything, but I seek the information. And that's what makes it important. So we're pulling up etymology. I love to use etymology. I think as an artist, it's something that should be your friend, your ally, because you can discover how words came to be, how they translated in definition over time, and how what we thought something meant really is an idea, is an adaptation of what other people, what we were taught, like what our teachers may have taught, or what we heard somebody say and how it felt to us, versus looking at a word, knowing what it means. So when I talk about language, here it says words, what is said, conversation, and talk, right? So we speak a language, English, Indian, Indian, what I say, English, Latin, whatever the language, Spanish, different types of language, but we know it as words. Poetry is a language. There's poetic language with that. And it's important to know what type of language you want to use when it comes to finding your poetic voice. And then I want to show y'all the definition of diction. which it took me down a rabbit hole of learning as well, which I think I'm always open to using, because then it leads down to even more rabbit hole saying, okay, well, I know what diction means. Now I know why they call it the dictionary. So diction here, a word, a sense now obsolete from the late Latin dictionem, a saying, an expression, a word, a kind of delivery, or style. So language, what you say, dictionary, how you say it. It's the reason you look up in the dictionary to know what a word means, how to pronounce it, diction. So poetry is a combination of, to me, of language and diction. And then we go into adding metaphors to that, analogies, similes, some wordplay versus just using plain language to get your art form across, however that may be. But I do think that part is important in finding your poetic voice. All right. So got that portion. We had our language and diction. Now we'll talk about the role of rhythm and sound. The more I do these videos, the more I realize how dope poetry and the art form is. It's like when you have to really think about how you want your bars, your stanzas to flow. It's so much opportunity to really be creative, and it doesn't have to be the same every time you do it, but eventually you find that pocket, right? Like, especially with rappers and even actors, like, the sound of Samuel Jackson, the voice of, pick a rapper, we know the voice of Jay-Z, we know the voice of whoever, or Lupe, you know what I mean? So they have unique sounds and beats, and we know when we hear it, we know that's them. So with your poetic voice, it's like, okay, that's your the Sunflower Poet right there. That's Poet X, that's Mr. Aubs, that's whoever. So I want to emphasize on this, and of course, I got a video to show y'all with that, because I feel like as there are some people who are auditory learners, and there are some people that are visual learners. And if you're tuning into this live right now, I want to make sure I give y'all some context and what, I gotta give receipts, right? I gotta give receipts to the things that I'm saying in order for y'all to even consider, quote unquote, taking my advice or considering this information that I'm providing y'all. Which I appreciate it if you made this far on the live. Thank you so much. And if you're watching this, after, then I appreciate that as well. Of course, the like, share, and subscribe as usual. I appreciate it. Let's go share the screen so we can watch another poet do his thing. And this was just me just looking for news. Bear with me with that, by the way, because they're gonna hit me with an ad every time. All right, let's watch a little bit of this spoken word poetry.
At 16, I wanted to die. Now I'm 22, and sometimes I still want to. Only I'm afraid to try to. No one understands. You don't understand what it feels like to live in this body. This body is a vessel, struggling to contain all of my pain. I have a lot of pain, more than you realize, more than one's shoulders could bear. See, it started when I was 5, 6, 7. I watched my family feud. And there was nothing I could do as a child surrounded by so much anger. At 9, I fell in love with dancing. But fat kids don't dance, they said. I was body shamed, and their words cut me deeper than knives could on bare skin, and I've held on to those scars for years. Just long enough to starve myself at age 12. At age 12, I ate only what was necessary to feel skinny, thinking maybe I can just shed off the memories. At 16, I wanted to die. And now I'm 22 and sometimes I still want to. Only I'm afraid to try to. Would you miss me if I did? Would you feel sorry for bullying me like you did? Would you? I know that I will get better. I'm not sure when or how, but I will. One day. What is up, you guys? It's your boy, Ronald.
I'm muted. Anyway, so you could tell, like, I put this up to help you to demonstrate rhythm and sound. And if you watch the entire of this video, I don't know if it cut off. When I stopped sharing, you can see the change in his voice. As soon as he was done with the piece, like he immediately went to hey, blah blah blah. Like switch up is, you're in a zone, right? And I want y'all to pay attention to, if you watch it again, is there's no music. You can sense, but you can sense the rhythm in his pauses, his voice, his volume changes. And I made some notes before then to discuss. You also did. So as a listener, it makes you stop and listen. It evokes emotion, like, and the background, like there's nothing on the background. So all you focus on is him. And then he goes to say that this isn't even about me. Like, this is a story that was submitted to me. And I just, obviously key words you would go to be like, you would, assume that this is, from a first person perspective, but still, like, it makes you stop and listen. And then think about the inflection, like saying, I have a lot of pain versus I have a lot of pain versus I have a lot of pain, like inflection, or I have a lot of, like, think about, it's like acting when, you're trying to evoke a certain emotion. So one example of rhythm and sound that I wanted to come with, I read my poems out loud, I practice them, and I imagine my audience in my mind. And if I were to say these words, how would I want to invoke feeling to the listener? What is the message? What kind of poetic energy or form do I want to express? So that's the next stop as far as on our journey together on this Finding Your Poetic Voice. We're going to talk about different poetic forms. And of course, I have a video for that. But in the previous video, as far as different parts of Finding Your Poetic Voice, I talked about haikus and the syllables that come with it. It's a 5-7-5 structure, 5 syllables in the first line, 7 syllables in the second line, 5 syllables in the last line. And so I don't, haiku is, it's like one of those you have to seek and find it and, really discover and practice it, because a lot of the, spoken word that we see is more free flowing. It's more of a sign, and it's long form. So it's normally not this short. So I wanted to highlight this Let's see, did I do it? And I just want to only play. Actually, I'll end up only playing like 7 seconds of this, just because the first one he said was like was pretty, pretty powerful. So let's see. Share screen. Shout out to Voice and Power as well. Another amazing platform. We're only gonna play the first 7 seconds. So
Haiku. Some women clip their own wings to stay with a man who's afraid to fly.
okay. Now why now why first of all that hit different, but there's something so for something so so short, right? In this, in a poetic sense, but yet have an effect of saying a lot. So let's look at the syllables, right? Like 5, 7, 5. He said, some women clip their own wings to stay with a man who is afraid to fly. Come on, yeah. So the syllables, right? Some women clip their. So some first. Bear with me. Some is the first syllable, and then women is 2 syllables. So that's 3 already. Clip is 4, there's 5. So that first line is 5. And then 7. 7 syllables. Own 1, wings 2, wings 2, and then 2 is 3. 4 is stay, 5 is with, 6 a, 7 man, right? 5, 7, and then 5, who is afraid to fly? 5. So he followed, like, obviously the format of haiku, short yet powerful message, right? But when you break it down and count the symbols, like, he obviously call your spoken word haiku, like that's your bad. But man, I really want to work on practicing that part too, like really developing that part of my game, because I just love my creativity, because I'm fascinated by it. I'm fascinated how you can say so few words and yet like be as dynamic with that. So exploring different poetic forms. All right, try haiku. It's complex. It makes you think. It's challenging, yet very like your creative ability. Like I won't say it limits it, but it gets you those like constraints, right? To where you can only make so many syllables. So you're like really diving into language and diction, as I say. So finding your poetic voice. Right? This is part 5. Did it live. And finding your poetic voice is about discovering who you are. Language and diction, what you want to say, how you want to say it. Experiment, practice it, read it out loud. Listen to other poets, read books, learn new words, develop your skill. Rhythm and sound, the flow of words. How does it sound? Your pitch, high, low, and there's an inflection. Do you want, what type of emotion do you want to evoke in your audience? Research, know yourself is key. Your art is a true reflection of yourself. Trying new poetic forms like haikus, free verse, using metaphors, analogies, similes, really understanding the English language and wordplay, and knowing what your artistic language is. Only you speak it, only you know it. You could develop it. It's like when we were kids and had imaginary friends, or we created imaginary stories, like as adults, as young adults, as teenagers, whoever. We have an ability to have that same imagination when it comes to artistic things. So, I really encourage you to tap into that. And that's the reason for making this series, is because I'm learning and encouraging myself to continue the development of my voice. And so many people have been, saying to me like, "Oh, I love your energy," I love it. And it's been that imposter syndrome thing. Talk about part 4. So where I just feel like, well, I'm not that good. Like I haven't thought I'm that good. And when reality is like, I know when I step on that stage and I like flip that switch on and I take a deep breath and then I step up to the mic, and then all of a sudden, like I'm just, I'm in another zone and my voice is going high, low. My frustration is showing, my energy is showing, my emotion, whatever it is, in that energy is like, it's a performance. And then when I finish, it's like, oh, hey, y'all, what's going on? And everybody's like, oh my God, it's so amazing. And I'm just like, oh, well, what happened? Like, I was just showing my art. So it's a level of humility in this game, but it's also a level of confidence to continue to be in this art form. Whether you read to an audience or to yourself or whatever, publishing a book, it's all connected. So let's see, 25 minutes, 26 minutes. Live stream. I was like, man, it's gonna take a while, but anyway, I really appreciate you tuning in. This is the first live stream. I just wanted to try something different, and it felt more authentic just because it's a live stream versus like pre-recording and practicing over and over again. So I really appreciate y'all tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe. Also go to the channel Know Yourself Poetry. Make sure you give them a like. New clothing line coming soon. And this is Dre the Sunflower Poet. Thank you for watching. Peace and love.